Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep into the book of Proverbs, specifically chapters 21 through 25. This is a real treasure trove of ancient wisdom, and you'll be amazed at how powerfully it still speaks to our lives today.
So here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off with justice and sovereignty in chapter 21. Then we'll talk about what I'm calling the currency of character in 22. After that, we look inward at the discipline of the heart, see how wisdom builds a strong house, and finally, we'll get into the incredible power of words fitly spoken. Let's get right into it.
All right, first up, chapter 21. This part is all about the big picture, It deals with righteousness, justice, and this idea of God's ultimate sovereignty. It really sets the stage by reminding us where the real power lies. And this verse, right at the start, just says it all. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. I mean, what a powerful image. It's like God is a farmer, and a king's will is just a stream of water that he can channel wherever he wants it to go. It's this profound statement that no matter how powerful someone seems, there's a higher authority at play.
And this huge cosmic idea gets broken down into some really practical stuff. For instance, the chapter makes it clear that doing the right thing, justice, is way more important to God than just going through religious motions. Why? Well, because true justice comes from the heart. It also hits hard on pride and laziness, contrasting them with the generous spirit of the righteous. The bottom line here is that a life of true righteousness finds its ultimate victory and safety not in our own strength, but in God.
And this contrast in character comes to life in verse 5. You've got two paths here, right? On one side, you have the diligent person whose thoughtful plans lead to abundance. On the other, you have the hasty person who rushes into things and ends up with nothing. It's a timeless lesson for sure. Patience and planning beat impulsive, get-rich-quick thinking every single time.
All right, moving on to chapter 22. Here, the focus kind of zooms in. We shift from that cosmic scale of God's sovereignty to the very personal, day-to-day wisdom of how to build a good life. This chapter is all about your reputation, how you raise your kids, and how you handle your money.
This verse is really the heart of the whole chapter. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Think about that. In a world that is so often obsessed with money and status, this is a pretty radical idea. It's saying that your integrity, your character, your reputation, that is the real currency. It's way more valuable than all the gold in the world.
And then we have this one, probably one of the most famous proverbs ever written. Train up a child in the way he should go. And this isn't just about punishment or strict rules. It's about intentional guidance, about shaping character from the very beginning. The idea is that the values you pour into a child when they're young build a foundation that's going to last their entire life.
Honestly, this chapter is just packed with life hacks. It says humility and a respect for God lead to a good life. It gives this super stark warning about debt. The borrower is servant to the lender. Oof. It tells us to be generous, but also to be careful we hang out with, because you can pick up their bad habits. And it promises that if you work hard, you'll get noticed by important people. It's really a complete guide to living a respectable, successful life.
Okay, so next we're going to turn inward with chapter 23. This section is all about the discipline of the heart. The internal battles we all fight with self-control, with guarding our own thoughts, and with being teachable.
This verse is just brilliant. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. It's a masterclass in discernment. It's warning you that someone can say all the right things, eat and drink with me, but their heart, their true intention is somewhere else entirely. It's a reminder to look past the surface to see what's really going on inside a person.
Wow. And the chapter ends with this incredibly intense and, frankly, timeless picture of addiction. It shows it's not just one bad decision, it's a whole cycle. It starts with just lingering too long with the wine. That leads to sorrow and fighting. Then your perception gets all twisted. From there, you become so numb you can get hurt and not even know it. And the final, most tragic step, you wake up and the first thing you want to do is start the cycle all over again. It's a truly powerful warning.
And that intense warning about addiction is really part of a much bigger theme here about self-control. The chapter also warns us about our ambitions, saying that chasing after wealth is pointless because it can just fly away like an eagle. And the solution to all these out-of-control appetites? It's to be teachable, to listen to instruction, to honor your parents, and to not waste your time envying people who are doing the wrong thing.
So, chapter 24 takes these ideas and wraps them in this fantastic metaphor, building a house. It's all about how wisdom is the literal foundation for a life that's strong, that can weather any storm.
And this is the central image right here.
A good life, a strong family, a lasting legacy, it doesn't just happen by chance. It says it's builded through wisdom. It's established by understanding. And all the good stuff, the precious and pleasant riches, fill the rooms by knowledge. So wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, those are your essential building materials.
Now, to show us the flip side, the chapter gives us this powerful little parable. The writer's walking by the field of a lazy person. And what does he see? Just total chaos and neglect. Thorns everywhere, weeds covering everything, and even the stone wall that's supposed to protect it is crumbling. It's a perfect picture of what happens when you do nothing. But here's the crucial part. The observer doesn't just shake his head and walk away. He says, "I saw and considered it well and received instruction." He actually turns this scene of failure into a personal lesson, and that's exactly what wisdom is, right? It's the ability to learn even from the mistakes of others.
So what was the lesson he learned? It's the danger of just a little bit. You know, a little sleep, a little slumber. These things seem so harmless, but they add up. And before you know it, poverty shows up like a relentless traveler you can't get rid of, and scarcity attacks you like an armed robber. The big takeaway is that ruin is almost never a single event. It's the result of 1,000 tiny neglects.
All right, we've made it to our final stop, chapter 25. And this one is really unique. It actually starts by giving us a bit of its own history before it dives into some incredible wisdom about how we communicate, humility, and just dealing with other people.
The very first verse is like a little historical footnote, and it's fascinating. It tells us that these are Proverbs of Solomon that were copied down by the scribes of King Hezekiah. So this is a curated collection. It means that hundreds of years after Solomon, this wisdom was considered so valuable that a king ordered his staff to preserve it. This is literally wisdom that was deemed worth saving for future generations.
And this verse, it just perfectly captures the theme of this chapter. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver. I mean, just the imagery alone is beautiful. It suggests something that is both incredibly valuable, gold, and beautifully presented in a silver setting. It's all about the immense power and beauty of saying the right thing at the right time.
And this whole collection is just full of these gems. It gives advice on how to act in front of leaders, be humble. It talks about the surprising strength of gentle persuasion, saying a soft tongue can break a bone. On a personal level, it preaches moderation and self-control, comparing someone without it to a city with no walls, totally defenseless. It even gives this radical command to be kind to your enemies, promising that God himself will reward you for it.
So when we pull it all together, what have we learned from these 5 chapters? We've seen a blueprint for a life that really works. It's a life that's built on a foundation of justice and humility. It's held together by discipline, diligence, and wise speech. And the whole thing exists under this massive umbrella of God's sovereignty. It's a totally integrated way of looking at the world.
And that brings me to one last question for you to think about. These words were written thousands of years ago for a culture that's so different from ours. So in our modern world, with endless information coming at us 24/7, what's the real value of wisdom this ancient? I think that's something really worth chewing on.